Hi guys, welcome back to the blanket fort. Finally, it's been a while since I filmed in here. Anyway, today I'm gonna do a book review of Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. Originally written in Japanese. So this, I would say, is a sort of magical realism, contemporary kind of, and it's not like it's a thought inducing book. Like there's a lot of it elicits a lot of reading between the lines and post reading thoughts, if you will. Yeah, so I really like this book. Spoiler. But basically it's about a coffee shop, a small coffee shop that is rumored to have give you the ability to travel through time. And there are a few rules around the time travel, which I'll get to in a minute. So the book is set into 4 chapters, very long chapters. There's a storyline, but essentially there are 4 women who travel through time, and you guessed it, each chapter is about their story. Which all comes together beautifully at the end. It feels like 4 separate stories, but they're all kind of like interconnected, which is great. So the rules around the time travel, this is not a spoiler, by the way, but essentially, number 1, you have to be in a specific seat, like a specific chair in the coffee shop, and you can only travel like at the coffee shop, like you have to be sitting in the chair during the time travel, so it all has to happen in the coffee shop basically, and you can only travel through time as long as your coffee's still hot. So the way it happens is that when you sit in the chair, the barista pours you a cup of coffee, and that's when you travel, and you have to finish drinking the coffee before it goes cold. Otherwise, you get stuck in whenever you time travel to. And I think this is an interesting premise. Also, their other rule is you can't change, whatever you do won't change the present. So it's an interesting premise around time travel, which I think we don't see a lot of. At least I haven't read anything similar to that. Typically, I find it's like, oh, you have to go change the past, or like we have to warn people that this is going to happen, or like, you know, so the constraint of like not being able to change anything, having to be at that specific location for only like 20-30 minutes. I don't know how long. It's not specified how big the coffee is or anything. I have my coffee here, by the way. I hope you do too, if you drink coffee. But there's no like specification, but I would say about 20-30 minutes, okay, something like that. So there's a small cast of characters. So there's the 4 who travel through time, and then there's other characters in the coffee shop. About somewhere between, they're under 10 characters, I would say. There's one character that's particularly interesting, who's the ghost. So there is this part I'm going to say is not a spoiler. Maybe I'll get into some spoilery thoughts at the end. But so there's a ghost who lives at the coffee shop, and she sits in the chair that you need to be sitting in to time travel. And once a day, she goes to the bathroom, and that's your chance to sit in her chair, right? So she's an interesting character. I think she's a good metaphor for being stuck in like not enjoying the present. There's another thing I want to say, but I think it's spoilery, so I'll keep it for the end. This book does a really excellent job at starting a conversation around the value of, I want to say the value of life, but maybe the value of appreciating the present. And because a lot of the time traveling, I think, is based around like people feeling that like they've filled in a part of a conversation that you might have had with someone. but you like filled it in yourself without having it ever happen, and so you assumed what the other person was thinking or like how it would have happened, and so you just kind of are stuck. Am I making any sense? I don't know if I'm making any sense, right? But you know when you kind of fill in what someone else wants to say without knowing what they want to say, but you just assume that. And not a lot, I'm not spoiling anything, but some of the time travels are kind of like wanting to fix that and kind of get the other half of the story, and it's just extremely well written because I think a lot of the motivations behind why each character wants to go travel through time are similar, but they're also very different situations and outcomes, and I think it's a very it portrays a very universal like desire around time travel, I think. So it was really interesting for that. I have a few thoughts I want to share that may be semi-spoilery, so viewer beware. I don't think these are spoilery, but they might be. I'm undecided on whether they are, so from now on, beware. But if you're gonna click off here, I just want to say I absolutely totally recommend this book. I hope you're gonna read it, and I would love to hear your thoughts if you do. Okay, so is this really spoilery? Who knows? Who knows? I just wanted to say, this is not very much, but the character of the ghost character, who is, I feel, a metaphor for being stuck in the present, was very interesting to me because there was that premise of if you stay stuck, or like if you stay too long in the past, you become the ghost, which was very interesting. And I thought the other part of that character that really struck me was the fact that the ghost does things like, you know, they're a ghost and they can't, they like can curse the person, they can curse people. So there's like an element of that legend and magic and just like not alive ghost. But then there are also things like the ghost goes to the bathroom, and the ghost, when Kazu, the barista, serves the ghost too much coffee to get them out of the chair, they, like, there's that element of humanity. Like, there's still part a human, you know what I mean? So it's like the person, the ghost didn't die. Like, the ghost is not there because they died. They're there because they stayed stuck in the past too long. And I think now that I'm talking, I'm just saying this out loud, and I just realized we never find out the ghost story, which I think is part of that, like, inherent mystery around you only ever have one perspective of life, which is yours, and like on a planet with 7 billion people, there's really 7 billion perspectives to life, and you'll never know any other one but your own, which is kind of trippy. So I don't know, it, like, when I think about that curiosity within me of like what was the ghost story, like, I want to know, and I never will. And like, I think that's one of the subjects that this book elicits implicitly, is what implicits, which is there are just things in life that you'll never know, and like sometimes you just might have to accept that, you know? So this was such a cool book. Like, every day I think about it and I think of something new. I finished reading it maybe 2 weeks ago or so, and yeah, I wish I could read it for the first time again. Maybe I'll reread it in a year or two. I don't know. It's just, it was glorious. So definitely recommend it. Let me know what you think, if you plan on reading it, if you have already read it, what your thoughts were. And yeah, like the video if you did, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!